Greetings, club members. We're outside today and hunting out in the wild, and I have found some Marionberry blueberry swirl Bam Huey. We're out in the bright sun today. Hopefully we'll get some good quality. But you can see this time we've gotten two little rolls of fiber, and one looks like it's the maroon and one looks like it's blue. These are actually the same. I dyed one side blue and the other side a maroon. Now the first thing I have to do is apologize to people who aren't as crazy about purple as I am, because I wasn't thinking that when you mix maroon and blue you're going to end up with a lot of purple. So my apologies. Next month it won't be purple, I promise you. But the fun part here is that the fiber, I've layered the color on so that this one side is predominantly blue and just a little bit of the maroon peeks through, and the other side is predominantly the maroon with just a little blue peeking through. And as usual, my first, as I walk across the rocks here, not fall. Okay, there we go. There is the scarf. And on the top there we have our normal Navajo 3-ply chain started with. And you can kind of see that just get a bit of purple, maroon, a little bit of blue in there. And just makes on our next edition. Of course, there's the purple from last month, but as you can see, it's a little different there. Now, besides the Navajo 3-ply chain, I did my other little sample too. And we're going to start at the top here. And this first here is a cable ply, 4-ply cable. And that's a broken rib type pattern of some sorts. I stripped this fiber as thin as possible, and I peeled off the top layer so you would just get mostly one color at each one. And so there was long strips of color repeats and just randomly plied. And so we move down below that. I still have some of that cable left, and I'm going to learn to do a linen stitch with that, but you'll have to see the blog post to see the linen stitch. That'll happen later. Okay, and the next up here I have a 2-ply, nice thick 2-ply, getting into the heavy DK bulky type there. What I did with this is I concentrated on spinning the blue side out on one half and the red side out. So when I was spinning, I would actually have it turn this way so that the fibers on the outside would be the blue. And then when I went to do the burgundy maroon there, I put it on the outside and spun. Now I will do some sample spinning later on once we're set up here at the house so I can demonstrate that a little bit better. It gets a little fiddly, especially since there is some of each color showing through, and if you try too hard to make it all blue on one side, it can get a little frustrating. But you get a general more blue and a more burgundy. And then when I was plying them, you can see up at the top here, I plied with the burgundy on the top, and then I went and switched and did with the blue, just to show how it can kind of affect your final yarn. Now the next one, you can see it's a lot more purpley looking because I took the blue streaks, I pulled as much as possible of that off, and I spun that into a fine single thread almost, and then I kept the purpley parts and spun them thick. Up here, I applied the fluffy purple around the blue thread, and then this way I did it the other way and spun the thread, or applied the thread around the fluffy purple. Looking at them when they were spun, you could see the difference, but once they're knit up, I'm really not noticing a big difference between the two. You do get a nice fluffy stitch in there, but I'm not telling which one real obviously. Now the third way I did that, continuing with that, I just plied them together, not one on the other, but in a nice little V-point ply, and that you can see a difference in. It really flattened out the yarn. My sun position is changing here. So anyhow, the yarn's more flat. You don't get quite as much of the puffy look to it, but that was only about the biggest difference. Like I'm pulling out sheet already. And of course I spun a lot of the lace up, and that's it down here on the bottom, and you can see we actually got blue. So this was the separated out, the blue lace plied against the purple, then the two different wraps. But I really liked how the lace ended out, and I just had fun and let myself go and do whatever. It still needs to be blocked out to be nice and pretty. So this is the Marionberry Blueberry Swirl in samples. Thanks for checking them out. The wind's picking up, so it's time for me to pack up the fiber. See you next time.